Okay, we have everything in our layout that we're going to put there. And what I'm going to do now is start adding effects. What I like to do when I'm putting in my own effects into things, I like to start from the bottom up, because just as you would with paper, there's not going to be as much shadow for this layer as there is this. And the higher you get off of the paper, the more of a shadow there should be. So I try to keep that in mind when I start building my shadows. So I'll just start with this one, and let me go over here to my effects. I've got a couple of different drop shadows. This is the one that comes standard on Photoshop. I also have these drop shadows, which I use a lot. And I also use these, that one. And that's pretty much all I use in here. And pretty much my go-to is this one right here. So since we're near the bottom, I'm just going to give that a slight shadow. And I may adjust these as I get going, give that one a little bit more. And then I'm going to, we've got some things that are underneath here. So this is on top of here. I'm going to give it a bit more of a shadow. That's the same level. I'm going to give the flower one that's just a little bit more because it's sitting on top of the leaves. This one, I'm probably just going to give the same as I gave the leaf. Just because you can't really see it. Now, what I am going to do is I just got some new shadows. So I'm going to pause the video, and I'm actually going to install some new shadows so that you can see, because I have one specifically for ribbons. So I will be right back. Since it's such a simple process and I've gotten the style extracted from the zip file, I just want to go ahead and install it and show you how simple it is. I'm in Effects, and I'm going to go down here and load styles. It's going to take me to my folder, and it's this one right here. It'll load, and now you can see it. You can see she's got them labeled string, a little bulky, large shadow, ribbons, and so that's the one I'm going to select right now. And you can kind of see that it gave some depth to my ribbon. Okay, let's go back down to the bottom. Don't need anything for my picture, but I do want to give some depth to my slide frame, because the way slides look in there, they don't connect exactly. So they do have a little bit of distance. So it would not be unusual to give it a little bit of depth separate from the picture. Now that we're much higher into the stacking, I should have a bigger shadow because I'm so much higher into my stack. And again, we'll do the same thing with all three of these. Now, on this one, what I want to do is I want to create a custom shadow that shows depth all the way around. And so here's how I'm going to do this. I've clicked on here, and I'm going to right click. If I hit, I believe it's Control Shift, duplicate layer, it puts the duplication below it. So we're going to call this one, we're going to rename it, we're going to call it Flower Shadow. Okay. The next thing I want to do, let's hide the top layer, is I want to recolor with my paint bucket, kind of all the way around this layer. Let me make it bigger so I can see what I'm doing. Let's make sure I get all my edges done. There we go. Really start to see. The fact that I'm doing this in black is really not that big of a deal, because by the time I get done transforming this custom shadow, it won't be black. Okay. Now you can kind of see it underneath there. You can see kind of the dark edges. But here's what we're going to do. We still have our shadow selected. We're going to go here to Filter. We're going to Blur. We're going to go to this Gaussian blur. I like to have it at a 6.4. If you start doing that any more than that, it makes it so blurry that it looks like one giant blur. And I still want to kind of give it shadow, give it some definition rather. So around a 6 is fine. What I can then do is work on the transparency. I can move it pretty much any way I want, but let me show you, and let me reduce this. No, not that far. I guess 300 was better than I was thinking. Okay. There we go. What I can do is pull out each of these layers and it kind of curls up my flower. Gives that feel that the ends of my flowers have kind of curled up. I'm going to do a little bit there.
Mom. Oh, sorry.
Okay, let's see. Kind of want to play with these a little bit more. And what I'll do even more so, because I don't want it to be really stark, kind of pull this one this way. I'm going to pull this one this way as well. And on these, let's kind of pull it pull them this way. I like that look much better. Okay, now let's go back and look at the shadowing. And let me pull this back. And I like the way that looks. And it gives me, by doing this custom shadow, it gives me so much more dimension than a drop shadow that just drops one corner or one edge like this one you see here. And I wanted that. I knew going in that I wanted to give that one some extra dimension. Okay, the last thing I want to do is look at this tape. You know, right now it just looks like it's kind of sitting on there and it doesn't look very realistic, but we've got some tools that we can use to kind of fix that. I like to use kind of a small thing. Okay, I'm going to start here and make a mark, and then I'm just going to go over, and I held down the shift key. Okay, and okay, let's continue burning here. So let's see, where do I want to go next? Let me back this out a little bit. Let's go, we're going to do one from right here, and what I'm doing is I'm clicking and I'm hitting the shift key, and then I'm clicking again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and go to there. Probably what I need to do on the exposure. And I may go back and redo this just to give it a more realistic look. Let's start here and go down into the corner. And again from the corner down to here. Yeah, I like this softer look a lot more. So here's what I'm going to do. And this is kind of a... Okay. I'm going to put these at 30%. Leave the size. Actually, I'm going to change the size to 25. And let's start back at this one. I clicked where I wanted to start it. Shift. Oh yes, much more natural. Let's do right here and go right there. And then we're going to go right here and back down. Again, right here to the corner, and from the corner to there. And the look I'm trying to give this is the realistic look that the tape has been smashed down and worn over the edges. That's the look I'm trying to achieve when I do this. It just kind of gives it that worn, kind of grunge feel, which kind of goes along with the rest of the page. If I'm using, and this is it's a little bit darker tape. A lot of times I'll use washi tape strips in my layouts, and those are a lot more see-through, and so the effect, you do have to do a little bit higher exposure just for it to be seen at all, because it's so transparent that it's a little more difficult to see. So that kind of gives some depth there. And let's play with the excuse me, the burn tool. And on that, I just like to go over my edges here along the edge where it's touching my paper. And if I do it probably about 25% right in here, just kind of continues to give it that worn look. Let's go right along the edges there and there. And let's just give it a little bit of Okay. Alright, now we've gotten that grunged up and that's taken care of. And let's go ahead and look at everything, make sure everything looks okay. Kind of rearrange things a little bit. I do want to grab this leaf in particular and kind of pull that out and angle that a little bit more. And I'm even going to grab this ribbon, kind of pull it to the side a little bit. And there's that. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is insert my journaling. So let me go to my Word program, grab that journaling, and let me use my text tool. Select my font. I'm going to use my own handwriting. Set it on 14. Let's draw my text box right in here. And paste that in. Now you'll see that you can't see it. So what I'm going to do is catch that. And let's see what kind of color we can find. Let's see what this looks like. Sometimes I play around with text colors and it works out really well. Other times I end up going, that's just not going to work. Got to make sure I don't do it too low so that I don't lose it. But right there will be just fine. And I'm going to do something kind of cool over here. In the template, when you'll recall, I talked about the fact that I like to put in the pictures. These pics were taken in 2007 and journaled in 2014. Okay. Let's reduce the font down to 12. Oh, sorry. Tilt it. Accept that. I'm going to reduce the size just a little bit so I can get it fit right in there. And there you have it. The layout is complete and we have done it freestyle, so we had complete creative control, and still it took about 50 minutes to do that part, not including the save. So let's go ahead and I'm going to use my actions again just so that I make sure that I've got let's see, there it is. Don't have anything to close over here because I didn't put anything in there that I didn't use, and I didn't hide layers from a template, so I don't need to do that. I'm going to run, actually, let me run the supply tracker first. Hide that and go ahead and save it. Got my print ready size and my web version. Alright, and we are all done. Please feel free to leave any questions or comments and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you.